Hey guys, today I'm going to start to grow some buckwheat microgreens in cocoa coir. And what I did last night was weigh out 90 grams of the buckwheat into this jar. I tore off the jar weight, placed the buckwheat seeds into the jar, 90 grams. Then I soaked it overnight. And you can only soak really basically 12 hours, but I went over maybe 20, 24 hours, whatever it took. And I used filtered water. I drained it using a small colander over the kitchen sink. And I'm going to be spreading these seeds onto the cocoa coir. Let's see what happens in the next few days. And possibly, this probably might take 14, might take 20 days to grow, but we'll see. I also have another jar outside that has been soaking. My wife is going to place it into the flower beds to see the flowers come up on this for the bees and whatever else that wants it. Maybe a hummingbird will want it this winter. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's an experiment. But I don't know how well these buckwheats are going to grow, but we'll find out. I'll let you know. If it's a failure, it's a failure. So what? Move on. So what I have here, I have a solid tray. It's been sprayed down with food grade hydrogen peroxide. All my trays are washed outside. Then I spray them down. And then this will hold the water later on. This is a slotted tray that the cocoa coir is in. I did take this cocoa coir from a block. I probably get maybe 22, 24 trays of microgreens per block. It's a 2.25 cubic block. And I'm breaking it up a little bit because there might be some clumps. Clean off my hands with a rag. Normally I take this cutting tool, that's for dough or whatever, that my wife gave me. It has a round edge and a square edge. You can break it up with that if you want to. You can use any method that you prefer to do this. I used to use this wood block to flatten it out. Now I can flatten it out with this to some degree. And if I don't like what's happening, I use the block. But I start with this. I normally don't put my hands in it anymore really as much as possible. That's looking fairly good. Let's wipe that off a little bit. So far. Now I'll take this block, pat it down slightly. Got a little hole there. A little clumpy there, so I'm going to break it up a little bit. Clean up just a little bit. I'm going to wet it down. The cocoa coir is moist already. So I'm going to add water here. This is filtered water. I have city water, but I use a filtered canister. I just have a canister that I use attached to an outside sill hose bib. And spread the seeds out. Shake them. Sometimes you can use a wider mouth jar. This one I had labeled for sunflowers, but I took it and just used it for the buckwheat seeds. Yesterday, buckwheat flour is excellent. Very hard to get many, many years ago. And now you can purchase it more readily, the flour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these seeds around a little bit because they're kind of clumpy. Next time I might do more seeds in this. I've been growing microgreens, spicy mix variety, and wheatgrass over 11 years now. I used to do it, just place it into a tray and grow it next to the window. You can look up the nutritional values of microgreens that are out there on the internet. A lot of colleges and universities and other people have done studies on the nutritional values of microgreens. But you basically have it right there. I'm going to soak this down a little bit more. Cocoa coir over the top of these holes to cover it. I'm no expert in buckwheat. I'm going to pat this down one more time. I'm going to wet one more time. Actually, I'm going to wet it once again. When I complete this wetting later on, when the buckwheat microgreens start to come up, I'll water a little bit on the top. And then I'll start, after it comes out of blackout, this will probably take 3 days in blackout. Okay guys, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a solid black tray, once again. Some of my trays I don't use a tray. I use tin foil, black foil that goes on, because I don't like the seeds to come attached to the container tray. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my heavy C-stand camera sandbags. I got to cut the little threads off of that one. And that's weighted down, and it's going to stay in blackout for 3 days. You guys have a great day. Enjoy life. Keep laughing out loud. Smile. Have fun. Stay healthy and safe. Take care.